Yo, what's going on? It's your boy, here with a brand new video for you guys today. Welcome to the channel. Hope you all feel good, feeling good. Today we got a new video, new discussion video, talking about the game Immortals of Aveum, a recent game released by EA that kind of didn't do very well. The game was developed by Ascendant Studios and it released on the Xbox Series X, PC, and PS5 back in August. But recently, Xbox and EA are doing this thing where you can play a trial. For Xbox, it was a sweet 6 tied to it, but for EA, it was just, hey, if you got Steam, you can play a trial of the game, which essentially allows you to play the opening segments of the game. You play like the first, beginning options of the game's tutorial, and then the first major encounter involving a dragon boss fight. This video is more so about why did this game fail, because by all central imagination, it is considered a failure by EA. And if you look at most reviews of the game, it's not very hard to tell why the game failed. A lot of people actually enjoyed the game. A lot of people who played the game thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't play the full game. I played just a trial that I was allowed to play on Xbox and PC. So you'll see some PC gameplay in here as well as some Xbox gameplay in here as well. And from what I've played, I thoroughly enjoyed the game. But it's very noticeable on what the game is and what the game isn't. And when you first, see the game's trailers and you see the price tag attached to it, you're thinking you're about to play like some kind of premium video game that's going to be very expansive and, just something new that will become like an ongoing franchise. But before its launch, it was definitely a game people were excited about. I remember me and my friends, we first saw it, it was like ecstatic to see this magic-based FPS game, because basically what it is, it's a first-person shooter that's a magic-based. Like, you don't use guns, you use magic, and we're very intrigued by it. We saw people like Jenna Torres in the trailers. It's like, okay, so you got like a major actress who's going to be in it. The main character looks pretty generic and who no one really cared about him, but there was intrigue. So what led to this game having such mixed reviews? Well, for one, on PC, the game ran very, very badly. It continued the trend that's going on in modern gaming right now, where a lot of PC ports are just running horribly, and it did not run well on PC, which led to a huge drop in the player base on PC. I think it dropped down to like 700 people when it came to the Steam release. But it also released at a very bad time. Like, outside of the performance issues, this is another one of those games that's a victim to its release schedule. The game released around the same release schedule as Starfield and Armored Core 6. So you kind of figure, for a $7 game, these are three games that cost you $70. Which one are you going to buy? You're going to buy Starfield, or are you going to buy Armored Core, or are you going to buy Immortals of Aveum? Obviously, for the most part, the majority of people are going to buy Starfield because of the popularity around it, and then because of the success of Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3, people who wouldn't be interested in Starfield would end up getting Armored Core. But when it comes down to what the developers thought about the game, the CEO of Ascendant Studios, Brett Robbins, he talked about it. And one of the things that he said is, I've never seen a year like this. Likely leading a comment coming from, there being so many top selling games in 1 year. He also said our business relies on selling games and we didn't sell enough games, which is a reference to the layoffs, because the studio had a lot of layoffs. He also said we were not in position where we could delay or push out of our launch window. You set those windows quite a bit ahead of time because you are spending marketing dollars. You have to commit to a particular date, which again point towards they were released in between two juggernauts in Armored Core 6 and Starfield. And not to mention that, a month after the game's released, because the game released in August, Baldur's Gate 3 came out for PlayStation. So it's like, again, these are heavy hitters, and their release window matters. I will say one of the comments that I saw from the studio, I wasn't really buying into, because Brett Robbins, again, CEO of the development team behind the game, he said in response to releasing next Baldur's Gate, his comments was, and I quote, "No one anticipated Baldur's Gate 3 blowing up right before Immortals of Aveum's launch. I've never seen a year like this," he said, adding, "It's always hard to break through the noise when you're a new IP or studio people haven't heard of before. Trying to create awareness for us was really, really difficult. It's always hard for a new IP, and this year made it 10 times harder." So though what he said is very, very true when it comes like those last few sentences, no one anticipated Baldur's Gate 3, I don't think is true. Baldur's Gate 3 has been one of the most anticipated games for like 3 or 4 years, maybe even longer than that. Ever since the game was early access, it's been one of the most anticipated games to launch for a while. But on back towards what Robinson said, because we're reading, a full thing here from MSN, an interview that Robinson's in. He talked about the layoffs, in which he said the layoffs really suck. There is no two ways around that. We are not a big corporation. Our business relies on selling games, and we didn't sell enough games, and that forced me to make that decision, which it was really unfortunate. These are people I work closely with, people that put their heart and soul into the game. You never ever want to have to do that. And this is right here the perfect response in a bad situation. We saw with Bungie when they did the layoffs for Destiny developers, that they handled that very, very poorly. Like I said before, people would not have reacted as negatively to Bungie's layoffs had Bungie not made the comments afterwards that led to make it seem like they just didn't care. Like like the CEOs, like the best people, kept their jobs. It felt heartless. Whereas like this coming from the CEO of Ascendant Studios, he sounds like he's genuinely like sad about having to fire people because the game didn't sell well. And I kind of think to myself, maybe this game would have did better had it just released it in Game Pass, because we saw Lies of P. When you have a game title that is definitely going to have a hard time competing with games that are released in a certain window, being in Game Pass helps out, because at that point people aren't paying an extra price tag. They're just paying that $9.99 a month if they just have a 1 month for Game Pass. And it helped Lies of P. Lies of P, sold a lot of copies on PC, but it was so good on Xbox out of Game Pass. People bought it while it was still on Game Pass because they just want to make sure that they still own the game. And I feel like Immortals of Aveum probably could have benefited from that. And it's not too late for it. It probably could still become a game that goes to Game Pass, and people will play it just because, like, hey, I don't have anything to play. It's holiday season. Everyone's home from school and things like that. Then you have next month when Christmas comes up, same situation. People are home from school, home from work, home from college, things like that, and they have time on their hand. But none of that can escape what the game's biggest issues were, which was, the PC port was bad. The story is very generic. The main character is uninteresting, and he's like trying very hard to be that sarcastic kind of comedy light kind of character. I don't want to use that dumb word people use to describe certain characters who are like basically kind of like younger. People say whenever there's a protagonist of video games who has like a younger personality, people call them cringe. It's not cringe. They just have a younger personality that's more in tune with people who are in their young adult years and teen years in the modern times. And so he has that kind of personality, and it's not awful, but it's just like he doesn't have like anything else going for him other than this personality. He's not unique. He's not special. You don't really care about him because there's not enough backstory for his character to begin with. You're just kind of like, all right, we're playing with this guy in this new game that just is the beginning of a new franchise. I guess I'm supposed to care about this character and people who are dying around him. But then again, like I said, this all goes back to that price tag. A lot of people, when I look at some of the reviews on Steam and other reviews, has basically been saying that, like, if this game was like a $40 game, they would like it more. But since it's a full price and all video game, I think it's on sale right now on most platforms. At the time of recording this video, it's the 21st of November. But like, a lot of people were just turned off by the price tag, because when you play this game, even when you play like the trial of it, you get that sense that this is a game that should have just been, a $40 video game. Like it shouldn't have been a full price game. And for EA, they probably want to make back a lot of money, because this game does look pretty cool. Like its visuals are top notch. Again, they have Gina Torres, so that means they're spending a lot of money on acting. The marketing was okay. It wasn't like crazy marketing. So EA probably wants to make a lot of money back off of it. But when you play this game, you get that feeling of, yeah, this should have been a $40 video game. This should not have been $70. This is not worth that price tag. This feels like something that's more of like an indie game, more so than a major release from a big publisher. But it's not an awful game. And kind of what this video, I want to talk about why it failed, but why you should also give it a chance. This game has very good graphics, obviously, but good gameplay and world building. The gameplay and world building of this game is pretty much where it excels the most, and where it falls flat the most is its story, characters, and writing. And it's just unfortunate, because it's like, you can see that there's something there for success in this game, but it just wasn't clicking on all cylinders. You know, the combat, as unique as it is for it to be magic based, it's still just an FPS game, and it's still mostly, you know, generic when it comes to, you know, how you move around and when you're fighting. But it's not bad, you know, and I do think people should try it out. You know, if you have Steam, if you have, I don't know if there's a trial for PlayStation. If it is, then you on there to try it out. You lose. I always say this: if you don't have to pay a single dime to play something, then try it out. You know, see if you like it, because you might like the game. You know, maybe this gameplay that you're watching right now for this video, you might like it. Be like, you know what, I kind of want to try that out. That looks pretty freaking cool. You know, I like magic stuff, and I like, you know, science fiction. You know, I'm a big fan of Torres, and you know, I'm curious about how this game looks and how things plays out. Even when it comes to the things I said that are bad, like the story, the characters, and writing, that's all opinion based stuff. You might play the game and you might like Jack. You might like the story, you might like the writing. All that stuff is subjective. It's not an objective thing when it comes to, you know, these opinions. Like, it's all subjective. You might feel differently towards everything that I said in this video when it comes to things that are negative. You might disagree with me when I say the game is visually a good looking game. Like, I see it better when it comes to graphics. You might say the gameplay isn't good, but you like the story. All that's possible, but you know, you could try it out. And I think that's what gamers need to do more of. And I also think this again, I keep going back to the price tag. Gamers aren't interested in trying things out when it's expensive, but gamers aren't interested in trying things out when they're cheap. We saw Embracer, I think it was Embracer, I forgot who it was, might have been Embracer, who came out and said that gamers want sequels and not new IP. And a lot of gamers was like, no, we do want new IP, it just has to be good. And it's true, we do want new IP. We're not sitting here just wanting nothing but sequels. We want new IP. You have to just make it good and worth our time, and you know, not have it just be like some kind of cash grab. I'm not saying that Immortals of Aveum is a cash grab. You know, I don't think that the developers themselves are the ones who priced it at with the price. I think it was like an EA decision. But, you know, I feel like it definitely hurt itself being an expensive game in a time frame, a release cycle, with Armored Core, Baldur's Gate, and Starfield, who are also all full price games. And Lies of P, who's also a full price game. But at the same time, Lies of P and Starfield were in Game Pass. So you could, you know, buy Baldur's Gate and then enjoy Lies of P and Starfield at no additional charge. So again, this goes back to me saying this game would probably benefit most from being a Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. I see rumors that's going to be PlayStation Plus. The CEO, he talked about Game Pass, and he talked about, it's kind of like an open-ended conversation where he was just like, you know, those are good services, and you know, they could funnel people towards the game. We didn't like say definitively, yeah, it's going to be Game Pass, but it can benefit from it, you know. And I think more studios, especially EA and publishers, should be more open to putting like their new IPs that they're not sure about. And I say not sure, I mean they don't know if this game is going to have that reach that it needs to have because it doesn't have that name attached to it. Well, your new IP, you need to have a massive developer attached to you, or people won't care. You have to be Bethesda. You got to be a Respawn. You got to be an Insomniac. You have to be a Naughty Dog. You have to be a studio who people know about and say, oh my God, such has a new game, I want to play it. But when you're a new studio, you need an IP that has a name itself. You know, like Hogwarts Legacy. You know, that game sold, people didn't know who the developers even was. So like, you need certain things to help you get over the hump. And if you're an IP, a studio that don't have that name recognition, and your game doesn't have like a license attached to it that can push it, then you wouldn't need PlayStation Plus and Game Pass to help you, you know, excel. And again, that goes back to Lies of P, and how good of a decision was by NeoWiz to be like, hey, put this game in Game Pass because people will just try it out and be surprised. And lo and behold, we're surprised. But anyways, you know, this video could have been 3 minutes long and it's 13 minutes long instead. But I don't know, if you play the game, what is your thoughts? And if you haven't played the game, why haven't you played the game? I feel like those are good questions to ask. What is keeping you from playing the game right now? Isn't, like I said, it's a trial. You get to play for about 2 hours of the game. Why haven't you touched the trial? You know, have you not heard about the game? Have you not seen anything on the game? What keeps you from playing the game? If you have played the game, do you like it? Do you not like it? Why don't you like it? You know, what do you think could help the game in the future, or help the developers in the future, you know, market the game better for you personally? I've been your boy Nubis. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Y'all stay safe. You count one another. I'm out of here. Deuces.